All right, everyone. Looks like it is 12:45, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And folks filter on in after we get going. That is totally fine. We're nice and informal here at Genially. So, um, welcome to Activate Star Mode, creating irresistible interactivity with Genially. We're really excited about this session. And again, to start off, I do recommend, if you have not already, to go ahead and join us in the live session. So Genially can present live, like what you're about to see demonstrated here in this session today. So if you want to go ahead and scan the QR code, feel free to do that, or you can go to play.genially.com and enter the code 625335. It'll get you to the same place regardless, but that will allow you to kind of play along with today's session and interact with all of the things that we're going to be showing you as we go through the session today. So we're going to, and by the way, that information is going to be, it's going to stay at the top of the screen throughout the session if you need it. All right. All right. So let's get started. First off with some introductions. My name is James Flaskamp, and I am the community builder for the US and Canada for Genially. I have been in education. Prior to this role, I was in education for 20 years as both as a teacher, as an instructional coach, as a digital learning coach. Most recently, I was a digital learning coach for 5 years in Frisco, Texas, which is where I live, Frisco ISD. So I'm a fellow Texan. It's great to be with y'all today. And I'll let Olga go ahead and introduce herself as well.
Thank you, James. Well, I'm Olga Kazarin. I'm Customer Success Manager, Community Builder here at Genially. And I've been using Genially, I think, since 2019, right? And I also have educational background, used to be a classroom teacher as well as digital learning coach. So happy to be here. I will be closely watching the chat. So if you have any questions, please post them there and enjoy the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Olga. Appreciate you. And yeah, Olga, if there are any questions in the chat that are pressing, that Olga, feel free to jump in and ask them, and I'll be happy to answer those as we go. All righty. So first and foremost, we like giving out free stuff at Genially, so I wanted to give you the opportunity here in this session to win a free premium Genially license. Yeah, we're giving out our top level premium Edu 360 license for 1 year to a lucky winner in this session. So if you would like to go ahead and enter that competition, that raffle, I guess, not really a competition, more of a raffle. If you'd like to enter that raffle, all you need to do is either, if you're in the live session, you can click on the QR code or just scan it. It'll take you to a Google form. It looks like this, very, very simple and straightforward. It just asks for your name and your Genially account email address. That is all we need from you, and we would be able to upgrade you to the Edu 360 premium account if you are one of our lucky winners. So there you go. So I'll leave that up just for another second or two if you need to scan it, and then we will get going forward into our session. All right. So like I said, this is Activate Star Mode, and we're going to be getting into that in just a couple of minutes. We actually have, I would say, there are kind of two parts to this session today. The first part is sort of an introduction to Genially. So if you're not super familiar with Genially, you haven't heard too much about it before, or you just haven't used it in a while, I'm going to give a little bit of a demo so you can kind of understand what Genially is and what we do. And then we're going to jump into some actual practical use cases. Okay, so taking some things that you might see in a classroom and seeing what you can do with them with Genially. So we're going to go ahead and hop on into that right now. And so at Genially, we believe there are two ways to teach, right? There's static content and there's interactive content. And so you get very different levels of engagement with these, right? So with static content, you have your images, you have your text, you have your links, all that good stuff. And that's all well and good, but if you make that content interactive, you can have something like what you see here on the right side of the screen, where students are able to actually interact with the content by clicking on different, in this case, cell structures and seeing information. There are extra little windows that can pop open and things like that, and lots of extra little additional things that you can throw in, like videos that you can embed and things like that. So it allows your students to be more engaged in the content. And we know as educators, users, that really is the very first thing that we have to be cognizant of with our students, because the content, if we could have content that's wonderful and amazing and have lots of great content, but if it's not put together in a way and presented to the students in a way that's engaging to them, then it's not going to be nearly as effective, right? So really with static content, you tend to bore, right? But with interactive content, you tend to engage. And so that's really what we focus on with Genially is how can we engage our students with interactivity, and how can we make that process easy for teachers to do. And so this little thing is phenomenal because it shows you a lot of the different things that Genially can do and gives you a little bit of a demonstration of those things. So windows and tooltips, you've kind of already seen that a second ago, but we can have our little interactive windows that pop up, tooltips where you hover the mouse over a certain thing and it gives you information. You can click on things to reveal different things. You can, like I showed you before, embedding videos is a thing, of course. You can add audio in to whatever you want, any page. I think that was, I don't know if you can hear that on your end, but it's kind of like mountainy sounds, I guess, if there's such a thing. You can reveal and hide things, like in this case, these flags, you can reveal and hide those. Drag and drop is possible as well, like dragging this climber up the mountain. You can incorporate interactive questions, whether that's true, false, sorting questions, open response, survey type questions. We have all the different question types available in Genially, with countdown timers you can add in as well, so that you can, check for understanding as students are going through a particular Genially presentation or activity. We also have a number of different full screen type effects that we can do, like a party popper. That tends to be pretty popular with our teachers when we want to celebrate things. And then a lot more too. We've released flip cards in the recent months, great for flashcards, studying, presenting information just in a different way, fully functional, where you can add all of the same things you can add into a Genially page into these flip cards and make them really awesome for your students. All kinds of animations. You can animate anything on the screen in a number of different ways. And so these are just examples of a few of the different types of animations that you can do with Genially. Gamification is huge with our tool. I don't think there's any tool out there that can gamify the same way that Genially can. I mean, the interactivity is through the roof, and then we also provide a lot of things like what you're seeing on the screen. These are called widgets that we provide in our tool for you to be able to add gamification elements in, like a rolling die or a flip of a coin, a countdown timer, a random draw of something, right? We have all of these different widgets available for you as well to use. If you're a math teacher, you're presenting data, graphs, very easy to do. You put in the information, the design part Genially takes care of for you. And then some more interactivity. You can have students even draw on the slides and things like that. You can have them paint with that functionality as well. So lots of different ways that you can use Genially to engage students and create interactive content. That's just some of it. It's really not even all of it, just some of it to give you kind of an idea of how the tool works. So yeah, we can create all sorts of things. What you are seeing here today, obviously, is a presentation, right? You're going to see some examples of some maybe games and challenges and infographics and stuff like that, but you can also create quizzes and surveys, full-blown courses. We've seen those created, videos, publications, you name it. You can pretty much make it with Genially. The tool itself is really for everyone. We have, lots of teacher users, educator users, of course, but we also have higher ed users, college professors, college students. We have companies, we have plenty of corporations that use Genially as well for corporate training and things like that, because it's just a very versatile tool and there's a lot that you can do with it. And so, yeah, Genially is a global company. We started actually in Cordoba, Spain. And so we are much, I guess maybe much more well known in Spain, France, Europe, those areas, but we're getting much more well known here in the US as well and around the world. As you can see, we're in over 190 countries. We have over 40 million users, and just this past summer we surpassed the 100 million creation mark. So lots of people out there using Genially to do lots of awesome things with students. So that is the overview of the tool itself. Now we can get into activating star mode, which I'm really excited about. You might notice I have my cool Mario shirt here. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a coincidence. It's because this is what I kind of had in mind when putting this session together, to activate star mode in the old video game Super Mario Brothers, right? To get that star meant that you became invincible, basically, right? You know, Mario could kind of do anything, you know, whenever he had the star. So when you activate star mode with Genially, you're taking that engagement and interactivity in your class, and you're creating invincible engagement and interactivity. It's very, very hard for students to be bored when you are engaging them with interactive content like what I'm about to show you. And so that's what activating star mode is really all about. And so the overview of what we're going to do today, we're basically going to go through this process a few different times with a few different use cases, so you can kind of get a sense of what you can do. First off, the original content. So I'm going to show you something that you might see in a classroom, something that you know, is an activity, a lesson, an assessment, something like that, that would appear just in a common classroom on a normal basis. Something like, you know, the lab tools vocabulary sheet, for instance. Then we're going to hit the magic button and we're going to activate star mode, and your face is going to look like that. Okay, so start rehearsing. That's the face that we expect to see from you when when the time comes. And then genialized content. We're going to explore the what we call genialized content that we have created. We like to use the word genialize as a verb because, yeah, when you take something and you transform it with Genially, it becomes something brand new and amazing that people have never really seen before. So we like to say genialize, to genialize it. And so we'll look at that genialized content and explore that a little bit, but we won't stop there. We're also going to go into the how-to. You know, I've been to trainings where people will show you things and you leave the training thinking, oh, well, that's cool, but how do I do any of that, right? So hopefully we can answer some of those questions for you as well today in this part, where we'll show you, we'll go hands-on a little bit and demonstrate kind of how to create whatever that is that we happen to show you, okay? So lots of cool stuff we're going to be showing you today, beginning with our first use case. So let's say hypothetically you are assigning your students an artwork analysis task, or something that involves analyzing an image of some sort. It could be artwork, it could be something else, right? You give them this prompt: go to this website to learn about the painting A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jetée, right? A very famous painting. And then you give them this link. So, okay, so they go to the link and it takes them to the archive, and here's the painting. Okay, very famous painting, you might recognize it. And then there's some information about it, some background information, and a bunch of info here, a bunch of info here. Okay, students need to read that. All right, now that's okay, right? It's not awful, but we can do better with Genially, and I'm going to show you how by activating star mode. So here we go. Star mode activation gives us this. This is an interactive image created with Genially using one of our Genially templates, as a matter of fact. So here we have the piece of art as the background for the creation. You have interactive sort of hotspots that will reveal information like the title and the painter, like some of the background information. And by the way, this is information that was just copied and pasted directly from the website that I showed you earlier. So it's the same kind of content, just presented a little bit differently. So we have our little hotspots there, and then we have these hotspots that kind of zoom in on different parts of the artwork and give some information about that. And these are already, you'll see, they're already pre-existing in the template. So these aren't even things that you would need to add. They're already there. And so this is a much more engaging way of having our students tackle this particular learning target. Okay, and so let me show you how this would work, how the process would work to create something like this. So we're going to go to my Genially panel, and so here we are in the Genially panel. This is what it'll look like for you as well when you're in Genially if you haven't used it before. And over here on the left-hand side, we have our button that says Create Genially. So when you do this, when you click on this, it's a drop-down menu, and you can see there are a bunch of different options, including like importing PowerPoints and PDFs and Google Slides. Yes, you can do that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Canva as well. We have an integration with Canva. If you use that, you can import those things as well. But in this case, we're actually just going to create a Genially from a template, which is a very common starting point for our teachers getting going with Genially. So I'm going to choose from a template, and I'm just going to, and this takes you to the template library, which Genially has over 1,400 templates, many templates in a lot of different categories. As you can see, you can explore the different categories and browse around however you like, or you can just search. In this case, I'm just going to search for interactive artwork. And when I search that, here is our template. So notice this is a newer template that's been released, the interactive artwork image template. When you view a template, it's fully functional. So what you see here on the screen right now is a fully functional version of the template. This is what it actually would look like to your students if you took the template and used it as is. So you notice the hotspots, they already exist. They're already there. You don't have to do anything with those. This is just something where you could change the text in this, which is actually what I did, you may have noticed. And so you can see there wasn't a whole lot of stuff that I had to change on my end in order to make this ready for my students in my particular case, right? And so what I'll do is this, I'll take this template and I'm going to hit the button to say use this template. Now it brings it over, that template over into my Genially editor. And so here's where all of the magic happens. The Genially editor is the place where you do all of your creating. And so if you're familiar with Google Slides or PowerPoint or really any other sort of, presentation creation or slide creation tool, Genially's editor is a very similar look, a very similar interface to that. So it should hopefully feel a little bit familiar, even if you've never used the tool before. And so notice here we have all of these different things, and when we highlight them, we get the little dotted lines around them to select them. When you click on something, you can see what sort of interactivities they have, what sort of animations they have, and then you also have a 3-dot menu that can give you more stuff that you can do with that particular thing, okay, whatever it happens to be. So you notice that each one of these is already set up in the template with the window interactivity, the interactive window interactivity. So you can click on that and you can see what the window looks like. So there you go. That's the window that appears. And you can edit this if you want. I'm not going to because I think it's fine as it is. So I'm really going to leave this, and this, leave those just as is. And I'm just going to make a couple of little edits to this. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the title and the painter. Just for the sake of time, I'll just do title and painter, but you get the idea. And, you might notice as well, if you're paying attention earlier to the template, you might notice that we had this text box was not there initially. If you go into preview mode, which is what this eyeball is down here in the bottom right, if you click preview mode, you can see it's actually set up as a reveal animation, a reveal interactivity. So when I click on this hotspot, it reveals that text box. And so that's why you see it here, because it's a text box that you can edit, but it's something that gets revealed when it's actually being used by the students. So the way you set that up, it actually is already set up in this case, but the way that you would set it up is by using the reveal interactivity. So if you do that, when you're setting that up, it's really just a matter of clicking on the screen, whatever it is you want it to reveal. So I could have it reveal these hotspots if I wanted to, but no, I'm going to have it reveal this text box. And when I click it again, I want it to hide it. So I'll save that and test it out in my preview mode. And there we go. It does what I want it to do. Okay, and now you might remember we also had some information up here in the top left corner. And so in order to get that is pretty easy. All I had to do was take these two things right here. You can, click and drag or just hold shift and select them. And I'll do a Control C to copy, a Control V to paste, bring that guy up here, move my hotspot over here on the left. And you notice that as I'm moving the hotspot, you can see it's set up as a reveal animation, a reveal interactivity, but it's still revealing this guy down here. We don't want it to do that. We want it to reveal this one. So we'll go into our reveal menu And we'll just simply click on that. And that's all we have to do. And now it's set up to reveal that. Super easy, right? And then I just copied and pasted the information from the website. So I'll just say information, for the sake of time. But you can imagine that I copied and pasted the information from the website I showed you earlier. And now look at that. We're ready to go. This thing's ready. It's in a format that is ready to be used by students. It has the interactive hotspots that can reveal and be hidden. It has these guys that zoom in and talk a little bit about different aspects of the artwork. And there you go. You've created your first interactive image. And this process is just as easy with any other image, okay? It's just a case of changing out the background, right? So you can click on the image and you can, in your 3-dot menu, do replace image. Replace it with whatever you want. Make any image interactive, whether it's an image, a map, a painting, whatever it is, whatever fits into your content area. You can very easily do that. And you may even find a template that has already kind of done that in the case of this interactive artwork image. Okay, so that is kind of how that process works. Okay, so let's go back to our main presentation, and I'll just ask you a quick question. Which Genially interactivity allows a user to click a hotspot to show another element on the same page? This is just a demonstration of what a live interactive question would look like. You could throw this in for your students just as a quick knowledge check. In this case, okay, I know the answer is the reveal interactivity, and so I'll do that now, and then it'll show you, your students who answered and all that good stuff is how that would work. Okay, and you would have a leaderboard and all that fun stuff for, friendly competition. All right, so that's our first use case. Now let's take a look at another way that you can genialize something and activate star mode. So we're looking at our lab tools vocabulary worksheet that we have here on the screen. Vocabulary, very common thing that we would do in a lot of different content areas. And so you might have something like this, maybe in your content area where you have vocabulary that students need to be able to define. And so in this case, it's a matching worksheet. But you know what? We can do better. We can activate star mode with something like this instead. This is a drag and drop vocabulary matching activity. And so what we have here are things on the screen that students are able to drag and put in the spot where they think they belong. Okay, so matching up the image and the description with the description up here in the box, right? And then we also have a check answers button. When you click that, it actually shows you what the answers are. You could password protect that as well, by the way, if you don't want students immediately being able to check it. Genially allows you to password protect pages and things like that so that they can check it when you tell them to and when you give them the password if you want to do it that way. Or it can just be self-checking right away off the bat like this. So notice this particular version has the label for the device as well as the picture all kind of grouped together. There's also a version that I put together. Wait, let me see. Yeah, here we go. So here's a version that has the labels separated from the images. And so if you want to make it even a little more challenging for your students, you can do it that way where they have to drag both of the different elements together. So how do you create something like this? All right, well, let's take a look and I'll get back into my panel to show you how to do this. So I'm going to go to my Create Genially button again. And once again, I'm going to go from a template. And this time I'm going to search lab. And this one is, yes, this one is from the laboratory presentation. Okay, and so now you notice this one has a little star in the bottom left. That means it's a premium template. Most of our templates are free, right? And our free plan is fully functional. You can do unlimited creations, and many teachers get by with our free plan. But if you upgrade to a premium plan, then you can access all of the templates, including the ones like this one. Now, that being said, you don't need this template to do what I'm about to show you. You can do this with any template and even a blank creation. It's really more about the drag and drop capabilities. So I'll show you that. So here, we'll view this template. And just like before, again, fully functional template here, but I'm going to say use this template to bring it over into my editor. And now, since this is a presentation, template, that means it has a bunch of pages to it. So here on the left, you can see we have like what, 21 pages in this. You don't need all 21 of these pages for the activity that I just showed you. It's really more like maybe a 1 or 2 page activity. And so to delete a page, very simple. You just hover over it. You have your delete icon here. It'll confirm and delete, or you can hide a page as well. If you don't want to fully delete it, but you just want it to be hidden when you're presenting it, you can click on the 3 dots here, do hide page, and then that particular page won't show up when you're presenting it to your students. Now, in this case, I think I just used this, really just the title slide was what I started with to create this, and then just did some modifications to change it up and turn it into my drag and drop activity. And so here's how that works. So you take the things that you have in the page that you don't want, and you can delete those out. Now, you might notice as you're going through a Genially template, something like this, where when you hover over something or click on it, it kind of has the more like bluish dotted line outline. That just indicates that it's a locked element. You can lock elements in Genially to keep them from being, dragged around if you have multiple layers and stuff like that, just to kind of lock them in place. But it's very easy to unlock them, like this guy right here. I can click on it and then click unlock, and now we can delete it out. This guy we don't need either, so we'll unlock it, delete it out, unlock, delete. Very simple to do. And if you ever do need to lock something, it's kind of the opposite. You would just take your three dots here and do lock, or just do a Control L, however you want to do that. But yeah, you may or may not need to use that very often. Now, I'm going to take this text box and I'm going to drag it up here, right? And this is going to be, say, the first, I don't know, answer space, right? Where something's going to appear. I don't need this text anymore, so I'll delete that out. I'm going to make this button my check answers button. So I'll just go ahead and change the text on this to check answers. And we'll revisit that in just a second when we're setting up kind of the answer, check answer window. But now we're going to set up our drag and drop, which is surprisingly easy to do. Again, lots of things in Genially look like it was very difficult to set up, but it's actually surprisingly easy to set up. In this case, drag and drop is definitely one of those things. So let's say that this microscope is what I want to drag and drop. So I'm going to unlock it first and foremost. I'm going to put it in its starting position. Let's say I want it to start right there, but then I want it to be draggable by my students. Well, all I need to do is select it like I have here. And then up here at the top, you can see there's a little hand icon, which says turn on dragging in view mode. So I'll click that. The hand turns purple. That means that this is now draggable in view mode. So I can go into my preview to see what that looks like. And ta-da, I can drag it around. Now notice it does kind of drag behind that text box. So we need to fix that because we want it to be in front of the text box, right? So I'm going to take this guy right here and highlight it again, just like I did before. And then right over here next to the dragging indicator, we can do this put in order and bring it to the front. And then we can test it out again and just make sure, there we go. Now it looks the way that we want it to look. Okay, so that's how you would set up the drag and drop capability, right? And if you need to add, if you want to add the text box like I did earlier to say, microscope, then you can do that. I'll make that text white. And then I'll bring that guy a little bit smaller and bring it down here over the microscope. And there we have our label. And then if you ever want to group something together, like in this case, you want to group the microscope as well as the label together, you can just click and drag to select both of them or hold shift to select both. And then you have your group option right here. Very easy. And then you just make sure that it's draggable. And now here you go. You have your draggable microscope. So very easy, right? And you can just add the text description in the box. And you pretty much have what I showed you earlier, right? You would just kind of repeat this process for each one of the pieces of lab equipment that you want to, test your students on. Now, for setting up the answer key, that's the next little part. So for the check answers button, it used to be a start button. So it used to have a next page interactivity. It's kind of what you see here, right? But we will edit this interactivity. We're going to delete the page animation, the go to page interactivity, and we're going to change that up and turn it into an open window interactivity instead. So we'll make it an interactive window, and it can just be blank. That's fine because I'm going to customize it anyway. So I'm going to unlock this and delete the white. here and just kind of move this over so it's kind of out of the way. And now what I need is my answer key. So in order to set up the answer key, it's pretty easy actually. Let's get out of the window. We will take all the different things that we want to appear in the window in the answer key, and we'll copy them. So in this case, let's say the microscope. So I'm gonna click it. I'm gonna do a Control C to copy it. Now I'm gonna go into my interactive window to edit my window. Control V to paste. And then I'm going to drag it up here into the answer location, right? The answer key location, and then I'll exit the window. And then let's test it out and make sure that it does what we want it to do, because what we want it to do is show that the microscope is supposed to be up here, right? So my students drag it up here, they click check answers. Ta-da, there we go. All right, so they've been able to check their answers. If you want to password protect a page, right, or password protect the answers, all you need to do is actually just take this check answers. You could change that back to the next page animation, create a next page animation, and you could just duplicate this page right here, have your microscope in the spot, and then when they click check answers, it'll simply show them this next page, right? And to password protect it, you just go into the three dots right here and you can add password for the page. You may have seen that earlier when I was hiding the other page. Yeah, you can add a password for any page in your Genially, which is great for gamification, great for just, preventing students from seeing the answers until you want them to. There are a lot of different ways that you can kind of creatively use that, but you can password protect any page you want. Okay. All right. So let's move on to our next little part of the presentation. Let me get back to my tab here, and we can look at another question. So in the Genially editor, which icon in the top toolbar can make any element on the page draggable for students and users? That is, which one do you think? It's, yeah, the hand, right? So the correct one, and that is the way that we could do a quick knowledge check for our students if this were a presentation for them. All right, on to the next use case. So we're going to look at a world map now, right? So lots of different reasons you might need to use a world map in your class, whether you're social studies or something else. But yeah, you could have something like this where, okay, worksheets. There are pictures at least, right? But let's see if we can make that a little bit better by activating star mode. When we activate star mode, then we end up with something like this, an interactive world map Genially, fully interactive with all kinds of different hotspots and places to put information. And the cool thing is I didn't really mess with the template very much at all with this. I think I removed the logo here and I changed a couple of text boxes. But other than that, this is pretty much the template. So you'll see there's some placeholder information because there's just so much that you can put into this. But yeah, you can click on the info button and get something there. You can click on a region. It'll kind of zoom into that region. It'll give you hotspots, right? When you hover over, and it gives you, the tooltip, hotspots that will open a window like this. And again, placeholder right now, but you could incorporate your information into that. Lots of different ways, lots of different entry points for you to put your information into this world map, right? And if you don't need something, very easy to delete, right? All right, so let me show you how we would create something like this, which I would hope we all agree this is definitely much more engaging than a worksheet, right? So let's go back to our panel, and this time around, I'm going to search when I go to create Genially, use template from a template. I'm going to search map. And you'll see it comes up with 86 templates for maps. And so you can see there are all kinds of different maps, including like mind maps and concept maps and stuff like that. That's definitely helpful for a teacher as well to know that we have those. But yeah, we have lots of different world map possibilities here. And the one that I landed on was this one, the regional spotlight interactive map. And so that's the one that we choose here. And again, you can see like what I showed you is basically what is here right from the start. You don't have to set any of this stuff up. It's already linked together and it's there ready for you to just customize with your content. You can also change the color palettes on things. Like if you don't like that color palette, you can change it pretty easily like that. Very, very easy to do that. But you'll click use this template, bring it over to your editor. And then, like I said, with this particular template, I didn't do too much to change it. It was really just a matter of, I think, yeah, like I said, I got rid of this logo. I changed this text box. I changed this text box. And that's pretty much all I did with this particular one. But yeah, you can see there are lots of places here where you can insert information, lots of different ways of presenting it. Very cool, right? So, and this is all within the template. So it'll make your life easier, saves you a lot of time. You have something that looks like a professionally created, incredible, interactive activity, but really is just a template that you started within Genially and just put your information into. So that is how you can genialize a world map. Okay, so back to this. One more interactive question, right? An element with a tooltip interactivity will reveal a small amount of information when a student or user hovers the mouse over it or taps on it on a touchscreen. That is true. Yeah, tooltip, when you hover over the top, it shows you the information. And so you saw that in the world map along with some other things. All right, now I'm going to show some love to the math teachers out there. So if you're a math teacher, this is your time to shine. Genially works for math teachers too. So let's say we have math problems, right? I was an English teacher, so generally when someone mentions math, my eyes glaze over like our cat friend here, and that's kind of what I look like. But yeah, here's a a worksheet. It's interesting. It's got like a pathway, I guess, that you're taking here with the problems and stuff. But let's genialize that and activate star mode and see what we come up with. All right, now this one is the missing mathematician. This one is, I didn't create this one myself. This was actually created by one of our awesome teachers in our Genially community. I assume a math teacher in our Genially community. And it's a full-blown digital escape room, a digital breakout, which is a very popular use of Genially. Lots of people really love Genially for creating digital breakouts. That was kind of my entry point for Genially because I was always a big escape room fan. So when I saw that Genially could create these types of things, I was like, whoa, I need to use that immediately. So we have this missing mathematician game, and this is how it works. Okay, so we're going to do let's go. And this one has a story tied to it, right? So there's like a narrative. It's 2 a.m. You receive an unexpected message on your phone. Let's see the message. Okay, so our phone pops up. I don't know why we're getting text messages from a cat. Don't ask me. Or why we're a pug. But yeah, we're getting these text messages. Okay, a brilliant mathematician has disappeared without a trace, and we need your help to find her. Be at the usual place in half an hour, and you'll get all the information you need. Okay, and so you can go to the usual place or go back to bed. You don't want to go back to bed. It'll start the whole thing over. So go to the usual place. All right, awesome. And by the way, this narrative part of the digital escape is something, especially now with all of the different AI tools that we have available, School AI, which I know is at part of this conference, and a bunch of others that are out there, ChatGPT, etc. You can create the narratives for these digital escapes so very easily, right? As a teacher, it saves you a ton of time in creating the narrative elements of it, so you can really focus on your content. And so then so now getting back into the escape room, you've arrived at the old filing cabinet, hidden in one of the warehouses at the port, which you use to exchange information. Look for the drawer containing the message about the mission, whose number is divisible by 3, 7, and 11. So there we go. We have our first math problem disguised as a digital breakout task, right? So here we go. We'll find the drawer. And so you see they're all numbered. I'm not going to pretend like I know math very well, but 231 is the correct answer. So I'm going to click on this. And when you click on that, here we go. Here's our information. Now, to save you all the reading, it's basically Dr. Elena Martinez. She's gone missing. We need to search her office in order to find clues to see if we can find her, right? And so we're going to proceed forward. Do we accept the mission? Again, we don't want to go back to bed and start over. We'll do, of course. And so now, okay, we're at the door to Dr. Martinez's office, but it's locked with a numerical code. I sense another math problem coming up. Yep, there we go. 4 squared times, I think that's time. Yeah, 4 squared times 4 cubed equals what? And so you can embed a calculator widget into Genially pretty easily, like what you see here, where students can use their real life calculators. However, I happen to know the answer though in this case is 1024. So that's what we're going to put into the keypad here. So when we click on the keypad, it pops up like this. Notice when you hit a wrong button, it pops up, wrong, go back, investigate. Okay, try this again. 1, 0, 2, 4. Hey, there we go. We made it into the room. Okay, now we use the key to find the light switch, but don't touch anything else, or we could set off the alarm. Now this is in the, by the way, this is created from a template. I should have mentioned before. This is a template, and the template I believe does have this sort of flashlight effect already set up for you. So this isn't something that you need to set up yourself. It's there within the template, and you can just put in any background images you want to put. In this case, it's a light switch. You click on that. Hey, there we go. Now it's on. Okay, so we're looking for the computer, I think. Yep, find the computer. And as we click around, okay, we're not finding anything yet. Okay, let's click over here. And now files, okay. What's that? Ah, the computers of our grandparents, the typewriter. What about this drawer? Ah, there we go. So we can open the drawer. Inside is a computer. And so let's see if we can, we can't get into the computer. We need a password to connect. I sense another math problem coming on. So we'll close this out. And hey, there's a conspicuous looking pile of stuff over here on the right-hand side. So let me click on this. And here's our drag and drop functionality again, being used in the digital escape room. So let's move all this stuff out of the way. And okay, so to find the laptop password, we need to look for cards with numbers. All right. Yep, there's one. Get this guy out of the way. There's another. There's another. Aha, there we go. All we need to do is solve that math problem. And if we don't know how, we can't figure it out, our awesome teacher has included a video for us, embedded a video here for us to use to help us figure it out and figure out the password. Okay, so I'll leave off here. We could keep on playing and playing, of course, in this digital breakout, but you kind of get the idea. We've taken a math worksheet, math problems, and turned it into a full-blown adventure that, I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer as to what's going to be more engaging for our students, right? Certainly the interactive digital escape is going to be more engaging. Now, this is definitely a higher level Genially creation, right? If you're new to Genially, you might not be creating one of these in the very, very near future. I don't know, maybe you will if you're like a prodigy or something. But yeah, this is more of a complex Genially that gets put together. But I can show you a couple little things, and I can give you a couple of tips on how to learn Genially a little bit better using a template like this. So let me go back to my panel. And we'll go here, and I'm going to open up this escape game. So here it is. So you can imagine I'm using this template. I've brought it into my editor. And so now I'm going to go into the editor and take a look at the template. One of the things as a digital learning coach that I always recommended to my teachers when I was, introducing Genially to them and helping them to learn it is go into the templates and just explore. Just click around, just explore in the editor and see how things are put together. See how animations are set up. See how things are linked. See what sorts of things have been included on each page. And you'll learn the tool a lot faster, certainly, right? So like you can go into this and like say you're trying to figure out, okay, how did they do the phone thing? Well, you can figure it out by going in here and clicking on each of the elements. So I'll click on the phone. Okay, so there's not an interactivity set up here, but there is an animation. And it's an entrance animation where it slides upward like that. Okay, so that's how it slid upward like that. And then how did these work? Okay, so this is just, okay, so it's a grouped image with a text box, and the animation is a fade in, and it faded in after 4 seconds. So what they did here was they used different fade in times to create sort of a cohesive conversation from top to bottom. So the first one comes in at 4 seconds, then notice this one comes in at 5, then this one at 8. and so on and so forth. So you can change the start time for your animations to create something like this sort of text messaging conversation, right? And really, truly, what a digital escape game in Genially is basically a collection of a bunch of different interactive activities that have been strung together with a narrative, right? At its most basic level, that's kind of what we're looking at. And so that's what's happening here. So we have, here's an interactive activity that has been created. Now on to the next interactive activity. Here we go. We have our file cabinets, safe deposit boxes, whatever you call them here. And so how did they do this one? They used one of our invisible interactive areas, which you can access over here in the interactive elements section on the left, and then scroll down to the bottom and see interactive area. There it is right there. So you can put an invisible interactive area here anywhere on the screen in a Genially that can do all the standard sort of interactivity that you would expect from any other element on a Genially page. And so in this case, the interactive area is giving audio. It's doing an audio as well as a reveal, and it's revealing that that image of the note, right? The note from the doctor about the doctor or whatever it is, right? And so when you use that from the student end, though, you have this. Okay, so find drawer, and now see, it's not there. You don't see the window anywhere, but it does what you want it to do. Okay, so that's kind of how you would set that kind of thing up. We have, okay, so do you accept the mission? That's pretty straightforward. Then we have this one, right? The door code, right? So embedding the calculator in here is one thing. You would get an iframe code and embed code, right, from whatever the calculator tool is, and you would insert that into the Genially. I'm not going to go into that too much because that's more higher level stuff. And then, yeah, this is just another one of those invisible interactive windows that you can click on. And so notice it takes you to another page, page 7, which is this page. Okay, and so now we have this page with the keypad, and it's set up so that if you click any other button, it's going to reveal this wrong go back thing. But if you click the correct button, then it's going to go to the next page. Okay, and then the next page will have the 2. If you click that correctly, or the 0, sorry, if you click that correctly, it'll go to the next page. Any other button, wrong, go back, right? And so it's just a repetition. You copy and paste and you do it over and over again to create that sort of effect, right? And so you can see just lots of different ways that that you can incorporate all the different Genially interactivities into one cohesive narrative to create a digital escape. And so there are lots of awesome digital escape rooms like these available for you to browse in our community tab, which I do want to show you real quick. If you go to your Genially account and then on the left hand side, community right here, you can go here and you can look for you know, digital escape, for instance, something like that, and find all of these things that have been created by other teachers around the world as digital escape rooms for their students. And you can take them and reuse them and use them with your students very, very easily. So again, another great time saver that I definitely wanted to mention to you. Okay, so, but that is how you could take a math problem worksheet and turn it into a full-blown interactive experience for your students. Okay, all right, so one more interactive question. And so, yeah, the missing mathematician digital breakout demonstrates which of the following Genially features. This is a multi-select question. I'll tell you, it demonstrates all of them, right? Timed animations, embedded content, a lot of yada yada, all of these, right? So great, all. And that, since that would be our last question, if we had our student participants in here, it would give do a cool little animation with a leaderboard, you know, like a 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place, ta-da, right? And so it's very exciting for the kids to see who won this little, you know, friendly competition of answering interactive questions. All right, I have one more example for you, and this is the biggest one yet. This is actually something that it incorporates several different activities. So say you have a boring lesson on the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, cell transport, like in biology, and cybersecurity awareness month. I don't know what class you're teaching that would have all three of those concepts as things that you would be teaching, but let's say that you did. You wanted to genialize them. Well, let's activate star mode. Arcade, yes. This is another awesome template. Actually, this is a template that I created myself for my teachers and, you know, for the Genially community, I guess, to use for things like choice boards, for things like game showcases, for all sorts of different ways. And by the way, you're going to get all of these templates reusable at the end of this session. Matter of fact, you can get all of the templates right now with this QR code that I have on the screen here. You can scan this code or just click on it if you're in the live session to get a copy of all of the resources that I've shown you in this session, including this arcade that I'm about to talk about. But yeah, you can access all these things. They're all reusable. You can customize them and make them your own. So these are fun because these are, I would say, star mode level Geniallys that have been created in real life at a real school with real teachers for real students. Okay. And so this one, investigating the crime of the century, was created with an American studies teacher for their students to learn about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping of the 1930s. Transport things, this one, you know, goes along with Stranger Things, right? It's in the Stranger Things universe. This one was created for a biology teacher, biology class, learning about cell transport. So that's why it's called Transport Things. Taken, that was a whole school initiative for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And yes, it does incorporate the, you know, Liam Neeson, I have a particular set of skills, you know, famous movie quotes. In this case, you're using your particular set of skills to recover your stolen identity. And so, yeah, all of these, by the way, are going to be available and reusable for you if you want to use them with your students. And then as a bonus, I have this rear window Genially, which is one of the, I didn't create this. It was our Genially instructional design team that put this together a few months back. This is one of the coolest things I have ever seen created with Genially. If you want to see just what Genially is capable of, right? This gives a really, really awesome use case, I guess, for what you can do with Genially, like on a super, super high level. So I wanted to share that with you as well. And there are even some tutorials as part of this as well that show you how to do some of the things that they do in this rear window game. And the game itself is really fun to play too, by the way. So if you just like playing games like I do, you might find yourself enjoying that as well. Okay, so all of these things are yours. If you just, scan this QR code or click on it, it'll take you to the resources, which look like this. And each one of these things are ready for you to reuse and potentially use with your students, right? And adapt it, make it your own, and all that good stuff. Okay. All right. So I think that brings us to the point where we're going to give away some stuff, right? We're less than 10 minutes, I think, till the end of this session. So let's go ahead and give away our free premium license. Assuming we had entries, let's see, we have some entries. Yes, we do. Awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and figure out who ends up winning. First, I'm going to go ahead and get back to our, I want to get back to our page that showed you there we go, the QR code that you can scan or click on if you're in the live session to access the Google form. Very simple Google form with just name and your Genially account email. You do need a Genially account email in order to win the premium Genially license, because that's how we upgrade you. We have to have your existing account and then upgrade you to the premium Genially license. So it's very quick. If you go into the form, there's a link there for you to be able to create your free account. But yeah, very easy to do. And so I'll give you, say, another 30 seconds or so if you're still trying to get that submitted. Just want to make sure any last minute folks are able to get in if you joined us a little bit late, so that you have an opportunity to win that free premium Genially license. And while folks are doing that, I will just I'm going to go to this guy right here and just show you this contact information. This is for our Genially US team. So you see, yeah, me and Olga, right? Community builders and customer success manager on Olga's part as well. We also have Christian, who's our channel manager, and Carla, who is our country marketer. And then Conchi is our VP over the Americas. And so that's the entire team. And we're more than happy to help you out with anything you ever need with Genially. If you ever have any questions, we're just an email away. I'm more than happy to help you. Okay, so now, Olga, it is your time to shine, I guess, because we need to pick a winner. So, Olga, are you have you done your wheel of names yet?
Yes, so we have 3 participants. I'm going to spin the wheel right now.
Okay, awesome. Let's find out.
Spinning. All right.
Hey, it's spinning. I'm going to do a drum roll. Let's see who it is.
Right, so the funny thing, the winner is Victoria, because Victoria in Spanish means, oh, well, in English is victory, right? So
Hey, there we go. Victory for Victoria. Congratulations, Victoria. You're the winner of the free premium 1-year Edu360 license. I will send you, right after this session ends, I'll send you an email with the voucher so that you can redeem that to get your free license, and hope you enjoy it. All right, folks. Well, I think that's about it for what I had to share with you today. If there are any questions at all, we still have, about 5 or 6 more minutes. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have. If you want to put them in the chat, if you just want to unmute and ask, totally fine either way. Olga, was there anything that we wanted to address that came up during the session?
we got a nice comment from Anna that she thinks, wow, and that was very cool. Thank you so much, Anna.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Very
And then
cool.
Laura
All
is
right.
reminding us also to
Yes.
actually fill out the form, right? The
Yes.
evaluation.
Yes, that's right. So yes, the session evaluation, if you look in the chat, you see that Nora has put that link into the chat for you, so that you can access the evaluation. Yes, please do. Please give us feedback. We definitely want to know how we did and what we can continue to work on to get better and better with these sessions. Our goal is always to help educators, to just help you engage your students and to create awesome stuff so that you can meet those learning targets. And yeah, we know it's hard to keep kids' attention these days. So we think Genially can really, really help you with that. And of course, we're happy to help you all along the way as you're learning how to use it and using it with your students. Okay, so again, feel free to shoot me an email anytime, james.ext@genially.com or olga@genially.com, and we can help you out. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and end the session here and wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the conference, and we hope you have a phenomenal start to the school year and a great rest of the year. Let us know if you need anything at all, and thank you so much.